Welcome to the STARS program, seniors taking active roles in society. And now, here's your host, ANITA FINLEY.
Well, this is going to be an extraordinary interview, and I say that even not knowing or ever speaking to Carew Papritz before, because I read so much about him, and when you're a very attractive man, as he is, you wonder, what is he doing with this gratitude and all this kind of stuff, this frou-frou stuff, but something in his life just has made him so dedicated to wanting to be kind and to bring gratitude into our life. So thanks for joining us today, Carew.
Anita, it's a pleasure. Thank you for having me on.
Well, let's see. When did you decide that you like this kind of a persona?
Well, it's interesting. You mean the gratitude persona, or
the gratitude,
or
whatever,
or the attractive man persona?
Oh, well, the attractive man, you can't help that. I'm talking about the other persona of being being kind and sweet and loving. I could just see it from not even knowing you. That's how you are.
Oh gosh, that's just part and parcel how I was raised, and I think, going to the central theme of the idea of the cultural turbulence these days, as we're calling it, or divisiveness, or however, I'm always a little bit taken aback that there is this amount of anger in the air, I guess, for want of a better phrase. Let's call it what it is. And the reason I say that is because I was raised to, like a lot of us, you don't say bad things about people because that's not a kind thing to do, and that's not civil, and those aren't good manners. I mean, really and truly, as basic as that.
That's right. It's living with their golden rule. It's funny. You don't know this, but I told you I have a magazine, and I'm always saddled with writing the publisher's letter. And my publisher's letter actually reeks from some of your stuff to this time. I just talked about being joyful and being grateful, and because I had read about what you've done, and it was in my brain, and I knew you were coming on the show, and I said, yes, that's what I want to tell people. Let's have some peace in this world and some love and friendship, and let's get out of this turmoil.
Yeah. And it's interesting, too, because I should tell to your listeners that we just got through, literally about 20 minutes ago, finishing up with a year-long project of creating the world's largest handwritten thank you letter and today is the first ever National Thank You Letter Day, and we created that about a year ago, and we did it, and we had the whole school and all the kids signed this letter. Over 600 students signed it, and the letter was written by the Cursive Club of the Continental School here in Arizona. And what was wonderful about that was that they wrote it. I said, look, I can try to write this, but it's not going to come off as authentic and genuine as you guys writing to us. I said, write it to your mom and dad, write it to your teachers, and they came up with these beautiful lines, and we put those in the thank you letter. And just so your listeners know, so they can get the visual, this letter is the size of a basketball court. So it literally is. They love the idea of creating a world record, which we've done. So it is the world's largest handwritten thank you letter, and it is a sight to behold. But it was the whole community involvement in putting out this idea of thankfulness. And you run away from I'm sort of on cloud nine, just coming off of this few minutes ago, and the energy of these kids. They were so excited to be part of this whole idea.
So as you're talking about this, I'm hoping it catches on and every single school in the country does the same thing. Gosh. Wouldn't you love that?
I would. Wouldn't that be something? Oh, my gosh, that'd be amazing.
So how do we get this to be a movement?
Let's talk. Let's get the word out. Let's get all your listeners, and they say, this is a great idea. Let's pass it on. I mean, for better or worse side of social media, guys, we can even send letters out telling people about this, but social media amplifies it this time in a good way. So, we'll give you all the website. You can go to my website, thelegacyletters.com, or the website for the Boomer magazine, and I'm sure they'll have information. And if you're right, this would be a great movement.
Okay,
gosh.
so let's start from the beginning. So you were a kid, you grew up, did you always lived in Arizona?
No, actually up in the Northwest.
Ah.
Yeah, up in Washington State.
Okay, and what have you been doing? I know that you're a musician.
Well, for these last years, I put on my author hat again. My early 20s, I had written several books, and they did quite well. And then, as any good author should do, you should go out and be in the world and, prance around, just go live life. And I did that, and then I ended up in Hollywood, getting my degree in filmmaking from UCLA, and then worked on feature films. Worked with the likes of Marlon Brando, which is my biggest claim to fame, and a number of not so memorable, films and whatnot, and just found that life a little too fast for how I wanted to live, and completely said adios to it, and ended up working as a cowboy on a ranch in southern Arizona.
Really? You really?
Yeah,
I saw you on the horse, but I didn't know that. I thought that was just a promo piece. That's really what you do.
That's what I did, for about 5 years. I worked on a ranch, and what was fascinating about it was someone said, well, what was the inspiration behind your book? And I would say, well, I had an early midlife crisis. And, they all like chuckle. I said, no, really, I took myself out from living in the middle of Hollywood, and here I was, my nearest neighbor was 10 miles by horseback, type of deal. And it was really a Walden Pond time where I was out there to work. I was a working cowboy, but I was the sole hand on this ranch, the sole foreman on this cattle ranch, and I sort of stared into the unknown and said, well, what's my life about? And all of a sudden these words started to come out, and this book, The Legacy Letters, appeared. So after 5 years of writing out there, so that was an extraordinary time to become a philosopher. I mean, it's something you never think you'd become in your life, especially as a kid. I'm going to grow up to be a philosopher. I don't think so. But there it was. And then the book came out, and actually I met my wife out there. She came out on a horseback pack trip through another buddy of mine, and I wrangled her.
That's
Oh
great.
my! Yeah,
See?
she loves when I tell
that was the
story.
reason when you were out while you were out there.
Look at you. That's right.
That's great. But horses have a lot to do with this too. And I've had some experience with I'm a gerontologist, so the horses, when people have problems, people have mental problems, there are horse farms where they put people on horses, and somehow the horses, they feel the horses. I don't know how that all works, but I know that there's a lot of therapy using horses. Oh
God, yes, and it's amazing how you that connection with animals. I mean, we know this with dogs and cats and all that, but the horses, there's another interesting level of connection there for people, because when you're smaller than a horse, and yet the horse, I don't want to say bends to your will. That's not
respects you.
Thank you.
And,
that's it.
Right.
Yeah, thank you. Yes, that's exactly right. And that's a feeling of empowerment, and then you have this connection. So it's a remarkable thing that what horses can bring to people.
Well, let's get back to gratitude, because I think it's a wonderful word, and as a person who deals with the older adults and have really a great passion to do something to help them, I feel that if everyone woke up every morning and just realized all the things in their life that they should have gratitude for, whether they have a pain or whether, but now, especially thinking about California and what's going on there, I mean, gratitude is necessary in everybody's life.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And I love what you talked about, the idea of thinking about it every day. For many years, and it's a habit I need to get back into, because it was a good habit, was at the end of the day, just before I went to sleep, I would think of 3 things that I was grateful for, however big or small. And it was in a way, it was a meditation on remembering the good things of that day. And after a while, after doing it for weeks and months on end, you just felt like I slept better. How about that? Gratitude helps you sleep better. Yes, why wouldn't
yes.
it? Yeah, why wouldn't it? Because of that good feeling inside you that, I did. Sometimes I'd even say things. Well, did I do something good for somebody today? Or did I give thanks to somebody? Or was I kind to an animal? Did I do something for an animal? Whatever, because I didn't see people too often. And sometimes did I write something that was going to hopefully affect someone down the road? So yeah, it was, and I think it's a powerful way to live.
It is. It's a great word. So tell me, though, how the letter even evolved. How did that come about?
The big letter. Well, as we call it, that's the big letter. So it's funny that from time to time, I actually have to go and read my own book to find inspiration again. And real quick, the legacy letters. It's a fictional series of letters written by a father who had never lived to see his kids, and these letters become their practical, moral, and spiritual guidebook for the rest of their life. So everything from how to say please and thank you and buy a used car to love and marriage and a whole gamut of things. And one of the letters in there is how to say please and thank you. And he talks about the importance of it. And I was thinking, gosh, this is great that I wrote this and I feel I'm getting the word out, but kids need something visual. They need something tactile. And all of a sudden my brain just well, why don't you do a giant thank you letter? And that was it. And it's been in my head for the last couple of years. And I finally decided I'm going to do it this year, especially this year, and went to the superintendent of the local school and who I know, and she says, oh my gosh, this would be a fantastic idea. And then it was a matter of just the logistics of putting it together, which was a lot of paper, but it wasn't much paper as I originally wanted to do it, because I wanted to do it on a football field, which I'm glad I did a basketball court, and I warmed up. But that's me, I got to do it. Why not do it the size of 12 football fields? Well, I'll tell you what, start with the basketball court. We'll do it on the football field next year.
So what's the size? What's the actual dimensions of the paper you put it on?
It's 80 by 40.
No kidding. And where do you store it?
I would tell you, having only done this 20 minutes ago, I have no clue. I'm probably going to end up in my garage.
No.
Well, no, because we actually had to roll it out in butcher paper with 3-foot wide butcher paper, and we had to tie it together with tape. We had to flip it on the back. We had to put packing tape on the back. So it was strong enough and durable enough to sustain all what we're doing. So for storage, I'll have to go back in these 9-foot sections and then roll it all up and then bring it out next year. Or bring it on the road.
Yeah, I was thinking, it's funny, of billboards in a sense, but I don't know. Do you remember years ago when you drove through, I guess the South, there were these billboards and it would say something. Then you wait and you see another billboard and it would say something, and another billboard would say something. It was all part of the thing. I forget what it was.
You're gonna make me date myself here. The Burma shade sign.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly. Well, I'm old enough that I know. So I was thinking, just as we were talking, that you could have billboard signs with one on each billboard sign.
Oh, wouldn't that be something?
Yeah, right.
Wouldn't that be something?
Well, all over the country. Wouldn't that be? And then people, that's what billboards should really look like. I just think that there's something big in what you've done, and it's going to require maybe some big thinkers. Maybe we need to get a big group together, a focus group or something, to figure out how this can change what we've all been, unfortunately, dealing with for the past couple of years. We have to do something like this. And so I admire you a lot for really being able to come up with this and take the time and the effort, because dealing with schools, actually dealing with a school even, I mean, I could picture someone down here saying, this is what I want to do in your school. What?
Well, they're used to it, actually, because we've done things like we've written, I did a first ever book signing in Cuba. This was post-Castro.
I saw that.
Oh, my, that was amazing.
Tell us about that.
Especially that ended up being tricky. So, relationships opened up, things were thawing out between Cuba and the U.S., and I thought, oh my gosh, I've always wanted to go to Cuba, of course, with our history, and it's opening up. And I said, I'm going to do a book signing. I want to do the first ever book signing post-Castro.
And when was that?
That was was that last year? The year before.
Oh, my.
And it took 8 months to do it because the communication was so spotty and the paranoia was so great. Why do you want to do a book signing? Who's sponsoring you?
There was something behind it, right?
Oh gosh, yeah. You do it for a church group. You're doing it for this, and on top of it, I was collecting. I had kids from 3 states: Washington, California, Arizona, collect books to bring down there, and then they wrote letters to put inside the books to give to the kids.
Oh my goodness!
Well, we pulled it off, and it was amazing. But once they understood that I was just doing it because this is part of what you do to create communication and trust and gratitude, right?
Right.
And oh gosh, the kids, they flipped. It was really. And then we did the same thing for the folks in the Hurricane Harvey. We got donations and they put letters and then rubber banded them around the items and we sent those off. So they're used to things like this we've done to school. So when I brought this, it was still part of this whole community-minded effort of sending out a good message.
Oh, absolutely. So tell me what you're grateful for.
Oh, if the first thing off the top of my head is my son and my wife. My son and my wife. I am the luckiest man in the world that I have those two people. My son was there. He's 11, 12 years old now. He was part of this. He's been my director. He does all my videos. He shoots them all. He's out there. Papa, go there. No, that's no good. 3, 2, 1. Oh yeah, it's great. And so he operated the drone where we got the drone footage over the top of the big letters. So I'm so proud of him, and I'm so grateful that my wife gave me this amazing gift. I mean, I yes, I did Wrangler, but she is an extraordinary woman. So grateful for that. Grateful for being given the opportunity. This sounds sort of funny, but being given the responsibility to write a book like I wrote, and then to bring it out in the world. Because what happens is the message that I get back from people is life-changing. And I was shocked the first couple of times it happened, and then I realized, well, you're not the author anymore. You're just the messenger to something that's supposed to go out there and help people start this conversation.
Yeah.
And it's yeah.
I have to ask you, though, the first book signing ever while stomping grapes. Where did you do that?
Up in Washington. It was near the Chateau Saint Michel winery. And, and people say, why do you do it? And I say, that's easy. I said, I just walk the talk of my book. I said, I want to live life to the fullest. And I thought, what a great way to go through life is being able to say, hey, this is what I wrote, and this is what I do because of what I wrote. And people go, wow, you put 2 and 2 together, and it equals you, and what you do. So, and I decided, well, I enjoy wine, and I enjoy doing something different, and that was a riot. Oh my gosh! If you go and see the video on that, it's on that. It's called Carew Tube. It's on YouTube, and we call it Carew Tube. But if you go to the website, thelegacyletters.com, click on it, you'll find all the videos we've done, and that was funny. Stomping grapes. So I get into the big grape container, and I think it's going to go up to my knees. Oh, no. It went right up to the top of my waist.
Oh, you're kidding.
And I wasn't prepared for how cold it was.
Oh, my.
I went up an octave.
Well,
but then I started drinking and stomping, and I was good. And I signed books.
Then it didn't matter.
Oh my gosh, that was and signing books while I'm doing it. Oh, it was all right.
Yep.
It was all right.
Well, so you really started out as a kid with your family, and what do you think put all this uniqueness? I mean, you do. You're quite clever, and you have a certain gene in you that wants you to do something more than the average person.
I think partly of course, it's the way you're raised. My dad was a ranger, so I grew up in national parks. I was actually born in Yosemite National Park. Yeah.
No kidding.
The oldest of, yeah. So I had that as my upbringing, the love of outdoors and being in the outdoors at every given moment. My mom, with her love of reading, passed that on to me, and so that great combination. And then just this always somehow or another being around writing. I don't know. That's one of those things when you're young and you just pick up the pen and you just seem to write and stuff comes out. And then, and I think the fact that I was never told that I couldn't accomplish anything. I think that's a big thing. You know, it's, you want to try this? Yeah, I'll try it. Give it a shot, whatever it is.
Yeah, it's very sad when parents tell a kid you can't do that, you're not going to be able to do that. That's right.
Yeah. So it was it was both an Americana upbringing and it was very eclectic. You know, we went to England when I was a kid. My dad got a Fulbright exchange, and so he taught at Oxford, and I went to school in the 5th form in England. So
wow,
life changing at that point. You know, so really this sort of, as I teach my son to be a Renaissance man, to be a man of all these things in life, and so that's how I was raised.
Well, we want to be able to get people on your website, and so that they can know who you are too. So, let me just tell everybody what you want to do is go to isn't it the legacyletters.com?
Yeah. The Legacy Letters.
The legacyletters.com. Go there, and then I guess they're going to be able to see all the things you're doing and keeping up with you, right?
Yeah, that's a good way. Of course, Facebook. There's a Carew Papritz page you can like and go on to. It's the author page. There's a couple other pages, but that's the one. And you can sign up on the emails and all that good stuff. And we actually have, on the top part, if you click on that, it'll tell you about the letter and everything we're doing. We're putting up new footage today on that, and it's exciting.
What were the ages of the students in school generally?
Preschool to 8th grade.
Oh, really? Preschool to 8th? Oh, my heavens.
Yeah. And they preschoolers are signing it, too. And they they all signed. And Anita, this was a lovely, lovely gift for me. Was, I had my mind, everyone's going to sign their name. Oh, no. They signed it with artistry. They create a little picture. When you see this stuff, it's like a mural now. It was unbelievable.
Well, I'm going to have to do something on this in the magazine, and after I, think about this. We just finished our November issue, and we're working on December, so I'd have to get back in touch with you and see if we can feature your book and do a couple of other things, because you are unique, you are special, and you're doing such good work, and we need this right now. It's lovely, and I would like to see that other schools do this. Instead of hearing about the shootings, let's hear about the love letters.
Yeah, the love and thank you letters, all the letters about. I love that idea of getting schools involved. And actually what I wanted to do next year, and we'll see, is to create a football-sized one and then have schools send in panels of all the kids signing their names, and we would put it on the letter, so it would be a nationwide letter, a nationwide thank you letter.
Fabulous. A nationwide thank you letter. Oh, my heavens.
Wouldn't that be something?
You need a major sponsor. You need a major sponsor to help you with. And there are some people, we could certainly... I'm sorry, I have so much to do, but I something that it's so appealing to me. It's so nice that you're able to do this and take charge and so creative. Well, did you have brothers and sisters, or do you?
Yeah, I've got 3 younger brothers.
And have they followed in your footsteps?
Well, we've got teachers and we've got sort of entrepreneurs, and I've got one brother who is. He does flash mobs around the world. He's one of the leading flash mob guys.
Those. I love. That's amazing.
Yeah,
really?
He's a cool cat.
I haven't seen those lately. It came out and they're wonderful.
No,
I haven't seen them lately. I wonder why.
No, I think they're waning. I think they're still around, but I think they sort of had their days. But they're a lot of fun.
Bring them back. Yeah, I think it was a lovely idea. A lovely idea.
Yeah.
So, are your parents still alive?
Yep, they're still alive, and we still travel and hike together, and oh gosh.
So they live in Arizona with you?
Nope, they're all up in Washington.
I'm
the black sheep. There's got to be one.
Right.
So.
Well, Washington's a nice place anyway. So Seattle especially, but Arizona is of course here in Florida, we have the same kind of weather, except we're not as hot, I think, or you're so dry there.
Oh yes, the dry heat. That's what we are. So and I have gratitude for dry heat. So.
Oh, right. But I saw the balloons. That was the most exciting thing, that you had the balloon, the hot air balloons.
The Great Legacy Letters
Yes.
book balloon launch. So I'll tell your listeners real quick.
Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, you're talking about that.
Oh, no, I was just talking about the balloons. I have featured them in our November issue. So please
gotcha.
tell us about this.
So another one of these crazy fun ideas. I was wondering what sort of book signing I should do next, and I thought, you know what? Why don't you just go over Niagara Falls, and sign a book? And I thought, I don't think my wife would like that. And then I thought, why don't you go over Niagara Falls and you're attached to balloons? I thought, still, it's a pretty dumb idea. And I thought, wait a second, what if the book was attached to balloons and it was sent aloft and someone found it? Oh. So, long story made short, I came up with the idea of miniaturizing the entire book. It literally is on a quarter sheet of paper, if you have an 8.5 by 10, and it folds out. It's an entire book that is it's microfiche size,
marvelous.
and kids could download it, put it on balloons, and it had a code. So if someone found it, they could put the code into the website, telling how far the balloon went.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Well, I have to tell you, Carew, we are out of time, but I definitely want to get back to you because I've been here. My mouth is exhausted because it's been open all this time with. But anyway, I want everyone to go to your website. It's really important. It's the legacyletters.com, and we'll talk again. Okay?
Sounds great, Anita. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Carew. Goodbye.
Goodbye.